This conference will now be recorded.
Hey, everybody. This is Dr. Doug Smith. It's a couple minutes after 2:30 on Monday. We had a little trouble getting the software cranked up today, but it's Monday. Uh, it's time for our Monday through Thursday 2:30 podcast. This is the podcast where you will hear the science of what actually happened to you during this opioid crisis. And as you guys know, I'm in the process of writing the book. I will get the book finished. The purpose of the book is to raise money so that we can file our first mass tort lawsuits. What the pharmaceutical companies did to you and what the psychiatrists did to you, it is unforgivable, and they must see justice. It's morally wrong what they did to you. It's ethically wrong what they did to you, and they must see justice. And this is the process by which we will begin to hold them accountable. In fact, what I want to do, I want to read a little excerpt from the book. And please tell me what you think. I want to hear from you. Okay, so I'm going to read a couple paragraphs out of the book, and then I want to hear your thoughts. I want to hear what you think about it. Okay, here we go. I'm going to read a quote, and I'm going to begin the quote right now. But at this point, the truth of what the pharmaceutical companies and the psychiatrists did only gets worse. We have discussed how the area of the DNA that was damaged by the opioids is a gene over 450 million years old. But tragedy upon tragedy, the 450 million year old area of the DNA was controlling a substance 600 million years old, adrenaline. Again, we are down to the very fundamentals of life itself. And the first body of scientific evidence that was ignored by the pharmaceutical companies and the psychiatrists was an abnormality in adrenaline associated with opioid withdrawal. To ignore adrenaline abnormalities and ultimately to cause other humans to experience the indescribable horror of adrenaline toxicity is one of the worst inhumanities ever forced upon a group of humans by another group of humans. I would put forth that only the Nazis with their concentration camps ever approached this level of inhumanity. As we will discuss, adrenaline toxicity kills. And these were tortured, horrid deaths. These were heart attacks in young people without underlying heart disease. These were catastrophic strokes. These were people drowning in their own lungs with pulmonary edema. These were aortic dissections, a ripping apart of the largest artery in the body. And there were 4 million of these deaths. This was pain. This was fear. This was inhumanity. And now it is time for justice. With the filing of these first mass tort lawsuits, we are beginning the slow march to justice. And that's the end of the reading from the book. So please, tell me what you think. Replay the recording. Okay, tell me what you think. Am I hitting the mark? Okay, is this a book that's going to be helpful? Is this a book that you might want to read? Or am I completely off base? Okay, what I'm saying here is that you don't want to mess with your DNA anywhere. You don't want to mess with any of your DNA. Okay, it's the blueprint for you. You don't want to mess with your DNA. It is the blueprint for making you. But you especially do not want to mess with old and ancient areas of the DNA that are involved in the fundamentals of life itself. But that's exactly what the opioids did. The area of the DNA that the opioids poisoned is DNA that's 450 million years old. It's the mu opioid receptor. And those opioid receptors are 450 million years old. They evolved 450 million years ago. Okay? Vertebrate life had not even crawled out of the oceans yet. Okay, you had insects on land, but you didn't have any animals with bones. Okay, vertebrate life had not even crawled out of the oceans yet. The first fish had not crawled out of the oceans and their fins develop into legs. That's how old and ancient this area of the DNA is. But, insult to injury, this 450 million year old area of the DNA was controlling a molecule, a substance, an organic compound 600 million years old. Adrenaline. Adrenaline is intertwined with life itself. Adrenaline is fundamental to life itself. If moving was ever an advantage, moving faster was more of an advantage. Adrenaline developed in the oceans 600 million years ago during a point in time when the oxygen levels actually went up in the oceans and you could move faster. And adrenaline was probably the catalyst that fed that. I mean, we're talking about the fundamentals of life itself. That's what the pharmaceutical companies did. They poisoned an area of your DNA that is fundamental to life itself. Old and ancient DNA, fundamental to life itself. That's why the symptoms were so severe. This is fundamental stuff. That's why the symptoms were so severe. So what the psychiatrists did, what the pharmaceutical companies did, they cannot be forgiven. They cannot be forgiven. They must be held to justice. They ignored the science about an adrenaline toxicity. And then the pharmaceutical companies poisoned your DNA, and then the psychiatrists came rushing in with an inaccurate, non-scientific diagnosis of opioid addiction based on no science whatsoever. That's what psychiatrists do. They like to throw out diagnosis without scientific evidence. It's their opinion that matters because they're important psychiatrists. That's not how science is done. That's not how medicine is done. They are neither. They should not be a part of medicine. That's a separate subject. I'm not writing that book. So we'll hold here for today. Please let me hear from you. Tell me what you think about what I just read. Listen to it a couple of 2 or 3 times. And then send me an email, send me a text, get in contact with us. And we will hold here for today. Please don't forget to like and subscribe to us. Don't forget to post this podcast on your social media and everybody else's social media. Let's get the word out there. Remember, if you want to be one of the first to file a mass tort lawsuit, okay, it costs money to do that. So just sell 25 books. You sell 25 books at $20 each. Sell them to, have a little event in your community. Sell 25 books. That will ensure your place in filing a mass tort lawsuit, because otherwise, how are we going to get these mass tort lawsuits filed? Okay, it's expensive and we don't have the money, so let's sell the book, use the proceeds to file the mass tort lawsuits. We'll hold here for today, everybody. We'll be back at 2:30 tomorrow. Thank you.